Yeah, we're live right now. And so ah, we're having people are joining us and
There's
so we're
Spirit.
really great to it's really great that everybody could make it today. Um ah, hopefully there we go.
What's happening?
Hey, good morning, Spirit.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How is everybody doing? Hey, Amber, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good, good. See you guys.
Yeah, it's well, it looks like you are on the road, Spirit.
I just got some coffee, um, and a bacon gouda from my wife, and then I'll get
Mm.
set up. But I didn't want to be late.
Outstanding. No, that's awesome. And this morning we've got somebody new joining, Steve and Jesse. Great to have you. Thank you for coming.
Good
Hello.
morning, Steve and Jesse.
Morning.
Good morning, guys. How are y'all doing?
Good.
Good. I've been doing the Monday night exercises pretty much all year, but this is my first time here. I've been meaning to schedule it, and it took me till December to get it in my appointment book. But here we are.
No, that's awesome. Yeah,
Welcome.
I know Stephen from the Monday night classes. We take classes together, so it's so cool that you're able to join. And we're just pretty informal group here. We just uh, we just draw together and have have I think a lot of get a lot of out of it. A lot of enjoyment and also just a lot of fellowship. So again, it's really great to have you.
A lot of good deep
Um,
conversations too.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, I really do think so. I'm gonna read the announcements real quick, and I think we'll get going. Harriet's gonna join us next week. I feel like she was feeling a little under the weather, so she let me know. So, but she says hey to everybody. So,
Tell her I
you'll
hope
be in
she
a
feels better.
yeah. I hope so too. So she'll be in our thoughts and prayers. But again, good morning, gang, and welcome to Guy Atchison's Reinventing the Tattoo Community, where tattooers, apprentices, collectors, and the curious are all encouraged to join in these live streams and real world events. Our goal is to inspire and ultimately create better art and tattoos together. We beam out nearly every single day, and with your help, we become a quality network of amazing live and on-demand shows. So be sure to like, subscribe, and leave your constructive criticism in the comments. We'll try to answer as much as we can. You can find us, of course, on reinventingthetattoo.com. We're also on the Apple App Store and Google Play Store, as well as our Facebook page, YouTube channel, and Roku. That's reinventingthetattoo.com/Roku. You can also find us on all the major podcast directories, such as Apple and Spotify. But no matter where you're catching our content, you can always find the latest and greatest at reinventingthetattoo.com. Let me see if I can. Oh, let me see if I can share my screen. Yeah, cool. So here it is, reinventingthetattoo.com. Um, uh, So we have a number of weekly staple shows, and we encourage people to tune in. So beginning on Sundays, we've got the skill building drawing group with Jason Leeser. I know Jason was yeah, here they are, right? I know Jason was in Puerto Rico at the Puerto Rico tattoo convention, so can't
Yes.
wait to catch up with him on that. That's followed on Mondays at 9 a.m. Eastern, Drawing for Tattooers, hosted by James Wisdom. That's me. You're here right now, Drawing for Tattooers. So great to have you. Um, at On Mondays at 11, we have the Tattoo Weekly, hosted by Lauren Gregory, Jake Meeks, and Gabe Ripley. That's followed at 5 p.m. on Mondays on Let's Talk About Feelings with Robbie Ripple. And at 9 p.m. Eastern on Mondays, we have the subscribers exclusive drawing group. led by Guy Atchison and Sandy McAndrew. And this semester by all sorts of the members. It's been a lot of fun. So sign up. I think the enrollment will begin soon. So check in to that. On Tuesdays, 10 a.m. Eastern, we have the Tuesday Fields Drawing Group, hosted by Ricardo Sturdivant. And then Wednesdays, 1 p.m., the Tattoo Now show. Let's follow Thursdays at 6 p.m. with the Tattoo Collecting 101 podcast, hosted by Fawn Baker. So we'd like to take a moment and thank some of our sponsors. We'll scroll down here, check them out. Tattoo Now, tattoonow.com, technology for tattooers, the leading edge in professional development management and digital tools for tattoo artists of all levels. They have upgrades, mailing lists, as well as CRM software. So be sure to check out Tattoo Now, ask for Gabe. And then, of course, a big thank you once again to Guy Atchison for being the founder and inspiration behind Reinventing the Tattoo. You can find out more about Guy Atchison at guyatchison.com, where you can order copies of the Biomech Encyclopedia. You can also find copies of prints, as well as original art, coil machines, other tattoo educational materials and content. So again, that's guyatchison.com, or of course, reinventingthetattoo.com. We'd also like to thank some of our affiliates, give a shout out to them. The Apprenticeship Diaries with Amy Nichols. And of course, Jake Meeks at the Fireside Tattoo Network. And so, be sure to, again, I want to encourage you, like, subscribe, and also leave us your comments at the bottom. We just, we're always really interested in, growing our community, and we hope that you will become a part of it. So, yeah, and with that, right? Good morning, gang, and welcome to Drawing for Tattooers. I'm so glad you're all able to make it.
Good morning.
So we've got
Sorry,
Amber.
I was
Yeah,
muted.
that's cool. We've got Amber, we've got Spirit, we've got Stephen, we have Elise. It's so great to have all of you today. So, welcome. Take this up. How was everybody's week? Lots of drawings, lots of busyness, right? It's December.
Lots of busyness.
Lots of busyness, right?
Lots of busyness.
Yeah. So, but art making, right? Everybody's making time to make their art. Yeah, that's awesome.
My computer's making my art right now, which is why
cool.
I'm home babysitting it.
Good for you. Yeah, good for you. Well, yeah, I've been making lots of art myself, doing lots of tattoos. It's been, again, really, it can get slow this time of year around the tattoo shop. I think a lot of people can experience that. But again, I try to make the most of it. Try to be as productive as I can. I went ahead and I drew the still life that we talked about last week. I'm not sure if anybody else got a chance to check that out or if they had a chance to do it. But I figured like I will I'll talk about the still life. I'll show what I was able to get done, and talk about some of the process of it, and I'll definitely criticize it here. So let me see if I can share. All right. So all right.
Is that it behind you?
Yeah, I've got it. I drew it, and I drew it on paper, because I think I draw on my iPad a lot, and so it was really fun to sort of get down on some paper. Can everybody see my screen?
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. So so I started off, I put up the still life and I put up my paper and I just started drawing it. And so the way that I was approaching it, I was like finding all these angles, right? So I started from like this upper corner up here, and I held up my pencil and I saw an angle. So I drew this angle, and then I went from the other corner and I drew another angle, and I just started, you know, triangulating. Took all the angles that I could find in any corner that I could find in any sort of relationship. I remember I pointed out this little, you know, tangency right here. I was like, this bothers me, but I used it as a, like a point of reference. So, and I got it, I thought it was fairly close, to the image. So, so I went with it. I didn't belabor it too much. Um, right. So then shadow shapes. Shadow shapes. What I did next was I just abstracted everything. I really went for the simplest. Didn't try to get into any details. Just very very simple. What's dark, what's light, and really like there was only kind of like this plane of the pyramid thing, and then the cube, and this part of the sphere. That was it, and just sort of blocked all of that in simple. Um, I squinted, right? So I squinted my eyes down. And I just sort of put it down, and I didn't really worry about it too much. Next, I pushed it a bit, right? And you can see, I changed I refined the drawing a bit. I kept looking, and I noticed that I was missing a, big part of the. It felt like I was missing a big part of the stage. I think, I changed the pyramid around a little bit, like made it more slender. But I started to, get this relationship going of like, all right, so what's middle, what's, dark, the darkest darks, right? Establish
Yeah.
those, and then darkest dark. So shadow shapes, darkest darks, and and then the middle started to sort of fall into place. And then that's the final version, just a little bit more refined. And so it was like a challenge. It was really a lot of fun to draw. Um, and I think I really hadn't done too much of this since I was a student.
That looks
Devin,
fantastic, by the way.
oh my God, thank you so much. I
Yeah.
really appreciate it. No, I'm serious. I'm self-conscious that, I'm always like, I'm like, I'll tear it apart. But you know what?
Wait till you see mine.
No, I'm excited to see everybody's. I won't lie. Like, I think I went to do a tattoo this weekend, of, a portrait. And it was like, I was just so much more focused, I think, and so much more, uh, like I just approached it more simply. I wasn't worried about all the details at first. I was able to move through it. Does that make sense, right? And
Oh,
get like
100%.
Yeah.
just the drawing, and during the week it helped. I think it helped my tattooing. Is really
Hmm.
that's what I think the whole point of this whole thing is like we draw a lot. So that way when it comes time to do our tattoos, or our or our 3D rendering, our 3D modeling too.
Yeah.
Whatever
Practice
we're
makes
doing.
perfect,
Yeah, yeah,
or
we
as
draw to
close to it as we can
practice.
get.
I think
Right.
it helps. It really does help. So, um, so that was the the thing we were talking about last week. So, if anybody had anything they wanted to show, or if you did that, or anything else that you've been working on, if you want to show it, now's our section of where we talk about our work and stuff and show it proudly. So, Spirit, you said you had done one.
Yeah.
I'd love to see it.
So okay. So I I I I was originally trying to go for quantity. So I did it like 3 times, but one of them I erased accidentally. I did it on the iPad. But yeah, so this is mine. There we go.
Nice.
It was difficult, man. Just the just trying to get all the angles right, and then trying to lay down like the different shading shapes. Well, this is challenging. But I learned a shit ton.
Awesome.
Just like the different, just using the different tones and how different tones will make your eye see something that is supposed to be there. And how things give, how shadows give other things weight and space. And I will say this, just like what you were talking about with the tat, like I did a tattoo this week. It was like a half sleeve, and like this area right here, I had a light bulb went off. And I used just this concept of just two things being together would probably make something behind them darker if they're lighter. You know what I'm saying? And so I used that into the tattoo. I was like, whoa, you know what I mean? I was like, oh, this is great. Oh God, So that's the most important thing, I'm sure.
Absolutely. And I think so I think that you got out of it you got out of it what you put into it, and then of course I think like you said, the light bulb moment, that's the kind of thing like you were there, right time, right place. You also had there was experience behind it, and I think all of that stuff it all came together for you. So I'm very like excited for you. You know what I mean? And I think, and I feel like I shared in that too, in my uh, putting in the work, and then going about like the things we do, and it was I got a lot of benefit from working with you guys this week. So thank you for sharing that. Yeah,
it's really just
spirit.
cool. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I just the putting in the work is just even I've been doing like a lot of times when I'm like right before I'm about to do the tattoo, I'll do the drawing exercise. Like I'll just do like 50 circles or 25 circles before the tattoo. That has been really, really wonderful. And also I have been remember there was one of the things that you suggested that we like go out and draw people in, in just go out and draw people. What I do now is I'll draw the person during the consultation. Like they'll sit down and I'll just be, talking to them, say, hey, what do you want, a tattoo artist? What are you looking for? And like, oh, blah, blah. And, I'm just sitting there drawing a sketch of them, while they're sitting there talking to me and talking about the tattoo. And I'll just put it to the side and, be like, I'm just warming up, But that's great. I love doing that. You know what I'm saying? So just kind of learning the human form. And after everybody shows what they drew today, I would like to I have a kind of a presentation that I have. Okay.
Yeah. Love
All
that.
Right, sweet.
Yeah, love that. And so I'm so glad you're drawing, surreptitiously drawing people, without their knowledge. That's I think it's sort of interesting. It's like, people, if you tell them to smile for, you're gonna take a photograph of them or something, they're performing, they're performing
Right.
their pose and stuff like that. And then if you're like saying, all right, just do what you're doing, I'm going to try to capture a picture of you while you're doing what you're doing. Again, they're performing they're performing because they're aware of of the gaze of your camera or you or something like that. And so it's an interesting sort of thing. Like if someone's really absorbed in their activity, they are still performing their activity, but they're, if they're somehow unaware of you looking at them, there's might be something, I guess there's the idea that there's something slightly different about that.
Right.
That there's, that there's always this performance, there's always this sort of, you're absorbed in the activity, you're performing, but are you performing for the, for the representation, or are you actually, kind of capturing somebody doing, I don't know. So I love that. I think that's awesome. And so,
well, I know that thought is similar to, I took a photography class, and I did a lot of street photography, which I hated because I have a lot of social anxiety and people get very upset when you randomly take photos of them. But the difference between like a posed photo and a photo taken like quickly on the street, the feeling of it is a lot different than like setting up like, oh, my friend, I'm gonna have my friend walk by, and just looks posed, as opposed to like someone actually on their way to work. It has a different energy to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that's exactly what we're talking about, and maybe and again, you know, your spirit while you're drawing your customers during consultations is like they don't know you're drawing them, you know. So maybe there's this
Right.
different energy that they're able to sort of, you know, they provide you. So I love that. I think that's
Right.
awesome. Yeah. I'd love to see some more drawings. Who else has some drawings for us? Or work, whatever you're working on. I'd love to see it.
I don't have drawings.
Okay.
Here, let me see. I have files of things that I've been working on.
I think you should be able to share. Yeah, I think you should be able to share your screen. If you
Okay,
want.
let me get my ducks in a row.
Cool.
Is it? Yeah. Okay. Let me see. I haven't used Zoom in forever, so no. Here we go. So one of my more recent pieces that I've done, Post has disabled participant screen sharing.
Oh, have I? Let me see.
Yeah.
There.
Okay.
Yeah, there. Try that.
Okay. Let me share. Here we go. Okay. So this is one of my more recent projects that I've done. I had to choose a vehicle and recreate it in a virtual 3D space.
I'm sorry, Lisa. I'm not seeing it for some reason. Is everybody else seeing it? Maybe it's just on my side.
It's a buffering.
Oh, is it? Okay. All right.
Oh.
It might be.
Maybe it's not meant to be.
Well, it might be too hardcore. Can you take a screenshot and share the screenshot, maybe? Something simpler? I know it's probably a 3D. It's probably a 3D rendering, right?
No, it's just a video.
Oh, is it? Okay.
It shouldn't be that big. I don't know. My computer doesn't like it though.
Well, I'd love to see it.
Yeah.
I know I was able to. Yeah, give it another try. I know I was able to see. So Elise recently had an exhibition. It was a digital exhibition you were a part of, and I know I got to see some of your work.
Yeah.
And it was. I thought it was exceptional. Oh, cool.
You can see it now?
Yeah.
Okay. I had it in a weird setting. Awesome.
Okay.
That's cool.
Yeah, I had to make a 3D rendering of it's a 1967 Volkswagen Beetle, which is like my dream car. But yeah, this is one of my more recent projects. My current project I'm working on, which I can't bring up because that would like destroy my computer with Zoom open. But I'm working on I think it's a World War I like small boat. It's called the Seven Bells, and it's like this converted boat that this like boat enthusiast, who I'm actually gonna email him because I'm using a lot of his photos to make my model. But I'm recreating that for my final project this week.
Wow, outstanding.
That's so cool. How are you? I mean, I have no concept of this. So do you make each individual piece of the car, or like is there like you get a big blob and then you use the mouse to like sculpt it? Like how do you create something like that?
It depends on what it is that I'm making. The car, I used a program called Maya. So basically it gives you, they're called polygon primitives. So like there's cubes, there's cylinders, and then there are edges and vertices. So you manipulate these things to make different faces. And then there's also programs like Arnold and Substance Painter that you can render realistic textures on. Realistic textures and lighting, yeah.
Is it in like if so? Once you learn, is it like a? Do you ever use Photoshop?
Yes, I use Photoshop
Okay.
all the time.
Okay, so you know how like Photoshop is like all photo editing programs are kind of like Photoshop.
Mm-hmm.
Is it the same type of thing, where is it like intuitive once you kind of learn one or two 3D rendering programs, then you kind of have it, you kind of have it.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of some, I mean, it's all by different makers, so it's not as standardized, but there's similar things that you can do with each of them. Like the manipulation of them is the same, but you have to like find the place for all of them, basically. So
well, that's
it's
fascinating.
A lot. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I like the relationship to, we were talking about the those basic forms, the cylinder and the cube and stuff. We were just talking about that last week, and that was a part of what we're been drawing. And so here it is. It's a in a different form, but you're still kind of
Yeah.
using the sort of basic ideas about what three-dimensional objects look like, or where to start with them. We probably, like the most spherical sphere that's ever been sort of made. You can look this up. It's like, it's like the most expensive thing. It's this highly polished sphere, but it's not. I mean, there's imperfections. You know what I mean? It's not perfect. It can't. We can't actually have a sphere. Like in the sense that we think of it, like in the Platonic sense, that there's this sphere or cube that exists, right? There's always something that's sort of it's not quite perfect, right? It doesn't really exist, but we have these notions, and it kind of it's a place to start our abstractions. And then again, I really find that interesting sort of link or relationship that like you're using this 3D space to sort of to still sort of engage with it, like like we were doing. Well, that was the thing. It's funny. It's like our model that we used for our solids was a 3D model of it was a 3D model of the, and also it's been fun here on the class we've been doing Pose Maniacs. Is that's a 3D modeled figure that gets posed all over the place. And so when we draw that, it's been like, it can get, the app or the company, they do all the posing, but it's something that like a model couldn't hold, for any amount of time, or an angle we
Right.
could never see. And it's very, at least all this weird stuff, but dynamic stuff, it's very cool. And I think, so yeah, it's way above my head, and it really is. But it's fascinating, and I think, yeah, and beautiful work. So thank you
Thank you.
for sharing. Amber, looks like you have got something you want to share.
Yes, I
Drawing. Let's see it.
actually just finished my rendering of the 3D model, while we were talking,
Cool.
because it's been a very busy week.
No worries. Yeah. Awesome. Yes. Beautiful. How do you feel about it? What
Dang,
talk
let's go.
about it? It really is beautiful.
Hold that up. I just got to the screen. Oh wow.
Here, I'm going to spotlight it so we can all see it.
That's
Just so keep it there for a second.
Okay.
Yeah. Beautiful.
what I started last week when we were
Mhm.
sitting here, and I just
Yep.
finished it this week while we were sitting here because I haven't had a chance to.
That's okay.
I've been drawing
No.
and tattooing a lot, but I haven't had a chance to just sit down and render it. So I just finished it real quick and blended it out with some paper stumps.
Nice.
Wow.
Nice. Well, I think too, I mean, I think this is a testament to like, you know, you were able to, so if you get something to this stage, you know, after 2 times of working on it, and then you work on it again, there's even further, you know, like we could, I've heard this saying before, you know, like paintings are never finished, they're only ever abandoned. I don't know if we've ever talked about that here,
Oh
but
yeah.
you know, maybe it's true. I mean, of course, you
Tattoos are
probably
never finished, only abandoned.
that's it.
Yeah.
You probably
Seriously.
it's probably true, but you know, you know, I don't know. I guess I just feel like um uh there's always a
Y'all
point
hear
where you
me
have to
crunching
stop,
these
you know.
carrots?
No, you're fine.
No,
You're
you're
all
good.
right.
All right. I was like muting myself and whatnot.
No, you're good. I
Sorry.
I really appreciate that you you know, like you got it sketched up and you got it rendered. That's the whole point. Again, I think, you know, I think as you know, the next time you go to render something, tattoo, drawing, whatever the case may be, that's what I think that's something me and Spirit were talking about, was like that we were, you know, just really just enjoying the experience of it and how it sort of,
Yeah.
you know, how it informs whatever it is we're doing next. You know, there's I get, you know, we're always, you know, that's like, you know, we're always sort of, you know, we fail and then we fail better, right? It's like you're always failing better, like you know, like
Yeah.
you never finish anything, but you never finish anything better the next time, something like that, and you enjoy that process of always, you know,
Yeah,
always
Thomas
coming.
Edison said something about failing 1,000 times and succeeding once. I can't remember but it basically boils down to if he hadn't failed at 50 million things before he found the one thing, he never would have found the one thing.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Great work. And I'm, you know, again, I know it's been busy, and so I really appreciate you, you know, like you know, you are putting in a lot of effort and, you know, putting a lot of time. So, I think, you know, that's outstanding, and it's helping too. You know, because I know that, you know, I know I can be, I'm encouraging kind of, you know what I mean? I like to encourage people and stuff. You know, maybe I try to be a toxic, you know, optimist, but I think I'll just being honest. Like, I think I see a lot of improvement. All right. I see improvement in myself, but I definitely see improvement in, you know, in you all that have been coming as well. And it's really been, so it's, I don't know, I get a lot of fulfillment out of it. And then, all right, so Stephen, you're here. I'm going to put you on the spot. Stephen, who I've been seeing your work for weeks and weeks and weeks now too. I also see a lot of improvement, you know, from in our group, you know, that we work together on Monday nights, and the stuff that you draw, I think is very cool. So you're definitely like a standout in class. Um, would you mind showing us any of your work, or like maybe the thing we, you know, that we're working on for tonight,
Sure.
even if you like? Whatever you want, I think would be awesome.
Sure. I just finished Medusa yesterday
Awesome.
for class. So you'll have seen this again tonight, but I'll show it to you.
Cool. Yeah, cool.
Let's see.
I gotta work on mine. Sick.
Try to get the glare off of it for you guys.
No, yeah, we can see
cool.
it. Yeah. Yeah, we can see. Here, let me pin it so that way everybody can check it out a little more closely. So hang tight there. Yeah, there it is.
All right.
Yeah, cool, dude.
Cool.
That's
Mhm.
awesome.
Awesome.
I love
Yeah,
the
I think
green glow.
that was a part of the challenge. You know what I mean? Was to add some black and gray, but with a little touch of color.
Mm.
So Oh, I really like the silhouettes back here in the background of the snakes. You know what I mean? It makes it look like there's a lot more snakes, and then also, depth.
Got a lot
So
of thing, but
We can see it.
yeah, we can see
okay.
it.
So
Yeah, very nice. And then, I think you've got a nice thing going on here, right under the chin. So there's an area where it's like there's a shadow on the form of the face, and then there's a shadow underneath it. And so, the line gives it that separation. But you also have like a little reflected light I think that's really kind of elegant right there along the jawline. Um, so so yeah, just a lot of smart things in this one. It's very stylized and it's cool. Very cool.
thank you.
Yeah, nice work. And this is you taking it quite a bit further. I saw it like on Monday night. On Mondays we all get together and we draw. We'll draw an assignment. That's what our Monday night drawing exercises with Guy Atchison are. So if anybody's interested in signing up for those, they're very cool. We're given a prompt, to usually like a tattoo sort of theme design, and we'll go through a design process. We'll sketch out several thumbnails, and then we'll try to get something, together, and then by next week, we'll show it. And so there's a bit of healthy competition between us all. We all want to we want to show up for each other. We want to show off, and I think it's also, I know for me personally, I think for so many years I was just sort of in this mindset of like I just do flash. You know what I mean? I just trace. I'm just a tracer. You know what I mean? All my tattoos are like somebody brings in something. That's all I do. It is a part of it. I'm not trying to denigrate it. And I think there's certainly an art to that craft, right? Of being able to reproduce flash or be able to reproduce like what a customer brings in, whatever it is. A lot of people talk bad, about Pinterest tattoos. That I hear it. That's the way I hear it called. I
Yeah.
don't know if I think it. It's I don't know, back in the day, it was like, God, like people would come in and get stuff from the same page of Flash all day.
Yeah.
What's the difference? It was
No,
okay
I
then, but
agree.
now it's like they see it on Pinterest, so it's not okay for some reason. I don't know. So there
Pinterest
is an art to it.
tattoos
There
pay
is an
my
art to
bills.
it.
So
Yeah, thank you, Pinterest.
Exactly.
It's a good
Give me
starting
all the
place too.
Pinterest tattoos.
Yes. Well, also it might be this place to start. And then again, if you can sense it if you can sense it in them, or if you can educate them on the possibilities, maybe they don't know. Maybe they don't know that you could design something for them. They're just unaware. And but if you're willing and you have some approach, then you can. It's going to be more effort. It's going to be more work. It might be like if you factored it into the overall price per hour, you may be making less money. But I think you might also be generating something more. You know what I mean? More like at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, you might have made something that generates more than the effort that you actually even put into it. That might very well be possible. So, um, but thank you, Stephen. That was very cool. And so I'm excited to. I'm going to work on mine a little bit more today, but I'll
All
share
right.
mine tonight, and so you'll see that. But I think it's really very very good. So nice work.
I appreciate
Yeah, absolutely. Spirit, you wanted to do a little. You wanted to give a presentation. You wanted to show. You wanted to show something.
Yes, I'm glad you asked. All right. So if I log into Zoom from my iPad, would I be able to share my screen?
Yeah, yes, you can. So if you're on your iPad, well, you can do it from you you might be able to do it from your computer too if you're on a laptop. So if you go to the share screen, if you just hit share screen, you might have a couple of options pop up. So if your iPad's open, it might very well be. I'll admit you here so that way you're on.
Okay.
But so there's a few options, but iPhone, iPad via AirPlay is something that can happen.
Share screen.
Or if you're on your iPad, you might very well just be able to share the screens. Yeah, we can see it.
All right, cool.
It's still here it is. Okay.
Okay. All right. Sweet.
Awesome.
So, when you showed us last week about the dynamic symmetry, about how you take a square and I'm just going to do a presentation. I'm just going to do a drawing real quick just to kind of show the guys that weren't here. Let's see. Come on. Come on, bro. Really? Okay. So if you do a square, make a little triangle here. You got, all right, that's a triangle. And then you do another line here to make a square. All right. And then, let's see, you draw another line from the center here. Very, very crude. And you draw another one here. And then you can probably do one this way. And what I'm doing is I'm just making sure I am hitting, drawing a line through all of the corners, I guess. Corner here, and boom, right?
Right.
And then I can even draw another line here. And this is all like, I'm not just making this up. I'm not pulling this out of my butt. Okay. And then another one here. And then here. Yeah.
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay. So
very cool.
So this is the act of what do you call this? What would you call this?
Well, it's geometry.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I call it. It's geometry, and so it's absolutely you're dividing a square into 9 squares. That's what you just did, right? So you made
because
each one of the squares. Yep. Yeah, tic-tac-toe. Right? Perfect tic-tac-toe board, but at this, so what you did where you were able to divide one, you made, from 9 equal proportionate squares. And it was through so you performed a series of operations, there was an order of operations. It was geometry. And it was just, I think it was really easy to follow what you did. Nicely, sort of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It was done. And but that's it. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Didn't mean to interrupt.
All right, cool. So I just found like some of my favorite paintings just to see, if it holds true. And what I found was pretty interesting. Oh, goodness. Yeah, so I'm just gonna start here. This is by one of my favorite painters. His name is Archibald Motley. Let's see if you can. So I'll allow you to look at that. And then here's the same, obviously the same painting with the layer over it.
Hmm. Interesting.
Yeah. And just kind of the things that I see right off the bat is, oh goodness. I'll highlight it. So you have the back line here. This is the most, kind of furthest point from it. The center is here on this lady's shoulder. This woman's leg is going with that. And if you kind of follow this line, it goes all the way back to the closest point of the piece, to the center, to the farthest. And there's just so many different little angles that line up, like this guy, right, this fat guy right here. What I found in it from Egyptian art, researching ancient Egyptian art, is most art starts from the bottom left. So if you kind of start right here, just kind of open your your field of vision to everything, you can kind of see how everything lines up. But this is just one painting, so I'd like to move on to another.
Yeah.
All right. This is another painting by Archibald Motley. He became famous in the early 1900s, where he was painting, just different scenes, African Americans just kind of being free and being awesome.
I love his use of color.
Yeah, he's dope. He's super dope. And it's interesting because you can kind of almost, like, without the lines, you can kind of almost start to see it.
Mm-hmm.
Look, just how this, that just fits right in there.
Right.
Here, this back line right here, this guy fits right there. This dog runs right, along this symmetry. This cop right here is lined. I mean, everything. I mean, I had a moment. Let's look at one more. Let's see. If we got some time, I want to look at some more classic paintings. That's not it. Give me just a second. Okay, yes.
Interesting to do this to some Salvador Dali paintings.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah.
I'm gonna. This is Supper at Emmaus, one of my favorites by Caravaggio.
Even without the lines, I can see how this fits.
Yeah, everything just fit. I mean, all the, here, where the little, the intersections kind of meet up. These are like right in front of Jesus's hand. The tip of this plate that's about to fall off of the table. This guy's head lines up with it. This guy right here is in this little group of boxes here. You know what I mean? You have all this darkness here, just being the chiaroscuro, and Jesus's eye meets up with this line. Like, what the hell? You know what I'm saying? Like, I just, all right, we'll look at one more. Let's see. Would you like a Raphael or another Caravaggio?
Let's go Raphael.
Yeah.
Nice. I just tattooed a Raphael the other day.
Oh,
It was
yeah?
a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. But
I have some issues with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle.
Uh-oh.
Donatello does not belong there.
I know, it's so weird.
Donatello was long dead before the rest of them. Titian should be there. It should be Titian.
Yeah, I don't understand that one.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's just, Just had a when I was doing these, I even did them blindly. You know what I mean? Like I would create a layer where I would just do this. Well, and then from there, I would just take that and just start making my square. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just doing all of that.
Mhm.
And then I would finish it, and then I would pop the picture back in, so I could see it. And sure enough, most of the pictures just really have this really interesting angles where these things meet up. I did a few more, but I just kind of wanted to just kind of get so you guys could see the picture. But and even this one. All right, one more. Another Caravaggio. This is just a bowl of fruit. You know what I mean? It's a whole bowl of fruit, but it still lines up.
Yeah.
Well, look at that. Look at that.
There's so many, well, here's what I would suggest is that it's very intentional. It's very intentional that the artists, all the artists that you showcase today are aware of the power of, of the geometry behind, their image making. So when they compose it, they're thinking about these things. And it's like, so it's a mathematical, not to scare, this is not to scare anyone at all. I think it's beautiful, especially if you are if you identify as this, image, a person who's, look at that. You sort of think of yourself as, I only draw pictures, whatever. So much of
Did he freeze?
what you're attracted to, I think, is this geometry. It's like innate it's
it happens
to people.
naturally.
Right. This is really fascinating. That very powerful point. Right there at the where the sword is meeting up at that intersection. I think that's without the grid here, again, I think we were attracted to it because of there's a real intense sort of light and dark. There we go. Welcome back. There's a really intense tonal value at the sword, and it's surrounded by all the darks. There's a bright highlight on it. But let's see. So we just lost the screen, Spirit, but we got you back.
Okay, sweet.
That was outstanding. That was fantastic.
That was awesome.
So
It was pretty cool.
And I'm so glad. And I thought, there was, I guess you mentioned you were going to do that, and I wasn't even sure what was going to come out of it. But I learned a lot from that personally. And I thought, so I thought it was beautiful, the selection that you made, and then how you went about analyzing them. I'm not sure, Stephen, I'm not sure if you were there. Ricardo Sturdivant did a presentation. He led one of our classes. I'm not sure if you were there at that one, but Ricardo Sturdivant is really big on on the seed of life angle thing. He does this seed of life thing. You were there for it?
I was there, yes. I did. We did a sleeve drawing with those angles. Right.
So it was he, so he did an analysis of a painting, and he did like an angular thing. It's a type of this dynamic symmetry, and it was just amazing how things lined up, and it's like, this really attractive painting, but it's like all of this geometric alignment. It was so I just thought it was powerful. It's powerful to know it, especially if you're really trying to compose something. If you can sort of use some of that understanding. You know what I mean? What did you think about that, Stephen?
It surprised me that it worked as well as it did, to be honest with you. I mean, I've got faith in geometry. Without shapes, we wouldn't be able to do art. But just laid out arm, stretching it out that far, I was surprised it lined up as well as it did with what I was working with.
Yeah, it was. I was really that was something that he brought to the table that I had never experienced, and I thought it was very. So I thought it was very fascinating, and I've definitely since I've definitely tried to use it a few more times. I think it's very interesting. So shout out to Ricardo Sturdivant. Very cool.
Ricardo.
Yeah, Ricardo.
Love Ricardo.
Yeah, I love Ricardo. So yeah, I love the whole RIT crew, right? So I think there's a lot of knowledge, that we talk about, and then of course, like, people that engage in this community, they also bring stuff to the table, right? Just like Elise, like you were talking about 3D modeling, and it's like,
Mhm.
some of the
It all
terms
starts
that
from the
you
same
use, I know.
place.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
even
some of
like
the
the
Mm.
terms.
sacred geometry, you think about why it brings you so much, why it's so powerful, and it's because it also comes from nature too. Like they talk about like the golden spiral and all of that. It's so comforting because it's natural for things to look a certain way, and when we use it intentionally, it kind of recreates that feeling.
Mm.
Well, this sort of brings me to what I was hoping to share today. It was something that we had mentioned last week, and it's sort of a building on this theme of composition and a little bit of geometry. So if let me see if I can. I should be able to share this with you. Yeah, cool. So let me see if I can't make it bigger. Okay. All right. So this is a chapter from a book, uh, The Drawing Atelier by Juliet Aristides. Again, this is a very comprehensive drawing book, art history. There's some step-by-step stuff, but it goes over tonal value. It talks about design, and that's the chapter, since we've really been talking about it. Um, uh, I think it's worthwhile, sort of purchase. And so anyway, um, uh, I think that, this beginning, I think, is, what is this, the epitaph or whatever, the beginning to the chapter here. Uh, I'll read it off. So, quote, sane judgment abhors nothing so much as a picture perpetrated with no technical knowledge, although with plenty of care and diligence. Now, the sole reason why painters of this sort are not aware of their own error is that they have not learned geometry, without which no one can either be or become an absolute artist. And that's by Albrecht Dürer. So, if you're familiar with Albrecht Dürer, it's a very famous, artist from antiquity. Maybe, yeah. So before really, really kind of before the early modern period, or right at the beginning of the early modern period, I believe like 1500s or something, Albrecht Dürer was making these incredible, incredible works of art. So anyway, so this chapter, I again, I want to, I would love to, encourage you all to check out this book. But it really goes over this idea, things that we've just been talking about uh, geometry, and specifically the golden section. All right, and so I will scroll down here just a little bit, and I think I think a good sort of intro would be this first part of the paragraph. So the priests, scholars, mathematicians, and philosophers of ancient Egyptian and Greek civilizations spent much of their time searching for answers about the inner workings and purpose of the universe in which they lived. Their studies of the natural world, both the Egyptians and the Greeks, found a sense of order in what they called the cosmos. This order, such as the rotation of the planets and the passing of the seasons, showed on a grand scale that aspects of the universe were both periodic and predictable. Similarly, these two civilizations focused much of their thought on the development of mathematics. This study had practical applications, such as helping them build pyramids and temples. However, for the Greeks, study of mathematics had philosophical implications as well. For the Greeks reasoned that order denoted intelligence, and that intelligent human beings must be created by an intelligent source. The intelligence could surely never be derived from unintelligence. Their deductive logic led them on the quest to understand this creator intelligence, which many have referred to as unity and represented mathematically by the number one. So there's a big section in Parmenides, which is a book by Plato, and where Socrates is talking to Parmenides, and they're talking about this idea of the one, and they go through a lot of it. And so it's a fascinating. We think we use the number one all the time, probably, right? But this notion of the one, the universe, and all that stuff, it's still a topic that gets debated even today by philosophers, and and sort of and surely, like within mathematics, there's a lot of interesting and unique things that are sort of derived from this notion. But let's talk about the golden ratio for a second. And so let's see if I can scroll down here. All right, so the golden ratio. So looking at nature, we see much variety. However, we probe deeper into nature and we see a dominant proportional ratio that is responsible for much of its design. This ratio is 1 plus the square root of 5 divided by 2. And so its approximate decimal format is 1.618 to 1. And so this is like attributed to Pythagoras as sort of the one who discovered this, but the ancient Egyptians may have known about it much earlier. So here's like the simplified, abstracted way to think of it, right? So here's the formula that Aristides gives us. B is to A as A, or as AB is to B. So B is to A as AB is to B. So if we look down here, if you could see my screen, we've got B is the larger part over A, right? AB and B. So so the way that the golden ratios works, right, is that B, we can see, is represented here by 5, the number 5, and A is represented by 3. It is that relationship that B is that much bigger than A as AB is bigger than B. And so I'll scroll down a little bit further. The Fibonacci sequence, not to get too complex, right, too quickly, but here's the Fibonacci sequence. 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, so on. And so how that works is 1 plus 1 equals 2, 1 plus 2 equals 3, 2 plus 3 equals 5, 5 plus 3 equals 8, so on and so forth. Essentially, what the mathematics gets to is that let's see, it's 1.681, which is the goal to 1 is the golden ratio. And so if you were to subtract its reciprocal, which is 0.618 away from 1.68, you get 1, right? And if you were to multiply, or if you were to square the golden ratio and then divide it by itself, you would get 1. That's the whole. That is the in an essence this quality of this particular ratio, that you always end up on 1. So again, there's a lot of math there to talk about, but let's get to, this is a golden rectangle, and we'll talk about what it is. But you can see here it's represented by, this is a unit 1, right, by 1.618, right, 1.618. And so this is the Parthenon. Here's a Greek temple.
Yeah.
And it follows this proportional relationship. So again, if that was a little hard to follow, if you're interested in learning all the mathematics about it, I think it's fantastic. I've spent years trying to to comprehend it. There's a level on which I understand it, but then of course, like, trying to articulate it is slightly different. but this rectangle has been shown to be very attractive to people, right? People are really attracted to this particular ratio. So in Renaissance art and going forward, we see this utilized quite a bit. And in architecture, we see it utilized quite a bit. So how do you make it? How do you make a golden rectangle? Well, here it is. You take a square. So this is nice. If you want to screenshot this, please feel free. But I think, so this is really nice. You take a square, right? And Spirit really went through kind of step by step how to find the center of the square, right? Through division. You divide the square, you find the center. And then again, just like we did, we're sort of finding thirds, or finding dividing a square into 9 or a rectangle into 9. You go from this center of one edge, right, to the corner. And then it's thought with a compass, but again, it's just the same length, right? This length brought down to this edge, right? This gives you the golden ratio, right? 1 to 1.618, right? That gives you that rectangle, right? Again, I think it's fun to practice it, right? It's fun to sort of it's fun to make. You make a square. Once I'm done showing this, I'd love to go through that with you all. I think it's pretty simple once you get the hang of it, but again, it's sort of could be fun, right? It could be something that's really useful to you. You might find it really useful, or you might find it's good to reject it. You're like, I don't believe in all of that, so I don't deal with it.
The
It's
earth is
hard not
flat.
to believe in math, though.
I know,
right.
but
It's math.
at the same time, it's like you may not subscribe to it being, more than just a number trick. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
which again, to each their own. But here we go through again, just like Elise was talking about nature, we see, this relationship, right? So it's not just made up. And again, it's sort of like, all the fancy numbers and stuff. It's like, it's shown through geometry. It's sort of shown through biology. Here's like a sort of Vitruvian man mock-up, right? So here again, this is what is I might be able to back up a little bit so you can see it all at once. So the head, right, to the navel unit, right, 1 to 1.618. And then again, so from the foot to the knee to that same navel, again, the same thing, right? And the whole body you can break up that way. It's interesting, right? And that's what Leonardo da Vinci was doing, and his Vitruvian Man as well was sort of showcasing this geometrical relationship. And so from the Nautilus shell to a gigantic spiral of a galaxy, we see this movement that happens. And again, because it's sort of situated on this, like the addition and subtraction always leading back to one,
Mm-hmm.
that's a part of what I feel like that's what we're theorizing here, is that what kind of makes it, happen. There's always this sort of expansion, contraction, or oscillation, and it leads back to this repetitious, this repetitious pattern that we see in nature. Can we harness this for our own art ends? I think is the point. Can we see this as a pattern? It seems to show up. What do artists do with it? And so this is fun. How you can make a logarithmic spiral, right? You see a square, a golden rectangle. You probably all seen this before, I imagine. But square to golden rectangle. You make another square, another golden rectangle, so on and so forth. And it, you can generate this this golden spiral. It's logarithmic, so again, mathematical. But the point that we're getting to, which I think ties in nicely with what Spirit was talking about earlier, is this idea of the importance within composition. So again, scroll back up here, right? This intersection here that we see, I want to just point that out, where we have, we have our golden rectangle. So all the way over here on the right side of this, we have our golden rectangle. It's been divided, right, from corner to corner. So it's bisected, and then along the extra golden rectangle part of it, it's been bisected again. And so let's scroll down here. This is this intersection that we've just talking about, right? It's called, an eye, right? It's where an eye would be attracted to, is the is the thought, because it's like the center of the spiral, right? There's a center, there's a center spiral there of golden ratio. And if we continue this throughout the composition, we'll get these 4 points that are very, like intriguing to eyes. There's a really very, there's a lot of angles that are very powerful, that are sort of, they're invisible, but they're leading our eye to these particular spots. And so, so here's a painting by Leonardo da Vinci, and Aristides did something very similar, I think, to the analysis that Spirit did. Yeah, the Annunciation. This is okay. So again, it's like it's gorgeous. It might be a little stiff in certain respects, but the point here is we can sort of we'll go down to the point here, right? So there's very interesting points of interest have been used. Da Vinci used those, and thinking about this mathematical relationship that we've been talking about the golden section. Musical composers also use this because music, of course, is numbers, right? Music is all numbers.
I think so everything boils down to mathematics.
Everything might be numbers. It's possible, but it's certainly closer to that abstracted language of mathematics. Music, so much closer to that. In our visual sort of vocabulary that we use, it's like, how do we get there? Well, if we break down through geometry, whatever it is that we're working on, there might be some relationship that you can start to develop in it, right? So if you draw on a piece of paper, that's a rectangle, right? If you're drawing on your iPad, again, it's sort of a rectangle. If you're making 3D, renderings, there's going to be all sorts of there's going to be lots of planes that you're going to have to think about. Sure.
Even like just setting up the shot too. You have to focus it in a certain way for it to show off the angles correctly too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think so. I think that that must be true. So at all these points of of intersection, there are all these very, very important things that are showcased. I think that's the end of it. I hope that was intelligible. Oh yeah, here's the breakdown of the enunciation in terms of like, so there's a centralized square, and there are two. It is sort of surrounded by two golden rectangles. That's what that symbol. That's what this symbol means, is phi, and that means the golden ratio. So it's so interesting. It's so interesting to think about this stuff. Again, it might, it's like do you need to complicate all of your work this way? I don't know. I mean, I think it can be so overwhelming and daunting, and it can become what your work is about, right? It's not, that's not the point. It's not to hobble you, right? The point is not to, to make it like slavish, and like you can't even work because you're so worried about golden ratios and stuff. That's not the point at all. But certainly, like, having an awareness of it can be very fascinating, and it could also, you never know. There might very well be something about the sort of the natural sort of movement of your own body, right? So you're making a mark, and just if you allow yourself to make it, the swoop of your hand and your shoulder or whatever, whether it's a mark that you're making or a dance that you're dancing, or something you're vocalizing, there might be this, if we're thinking about nature, it might come up again. There might be something, if you allow yourself, it's what's natural to you. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's almost like,
speculation.
As opposed, instead of like these being guidelines, it's almost like, because now that we know these things are there, we'll kind of know what to look for. We'll know what to kind of look at. It's just like sometimes you just look at a piece of your artwork and you're like, there's just something off about it. I don't know what it is. It just can't, you know what I mean? So, just, knowledge is cumulative, right? So, like now we just have another layer of information to kind of add to our tool chest to say, okay, well, this is something else I can use to make things righter.
To something that you can, it's a point to start. Like we were just talking about, maybe Pinterest tattoos. Maybe Pinterest is maybe you copy it. Maybe you use it as a jumping off point. Maybe you use some of this information. Yeah, thank you, Stephen. It was so great to have you. Stephen's got a roll.
Thanks for coming, Stephen.
Thanks for coming, Stephen. Please come again.
Hi, Stephen.
It's good to meet you.
Yeah, love to have you again. So anyways, it was something I was thinking about, and it was something that, kind of like we kind of organically, started talking about this subject, right? We started talking about shapes, right? Cubes and spheres and stuff, and then we started talking about a little bit of geometry, like how do you, dividing up a square, dividing up a rectangle. And it kind of led us here to this sort of this idea about the mysteries of the universe.
It's great. And that's the thing. That's what I was saying. This is high science to me. Almost, you know what I mean? Like that's what we're doing, James. We are discovering the laws of the universe here.
Yeah.
Okay. Who else is doing this? You know what I mean?
It's
most artists back in the day were also scientists and alchemists and cultists.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
they studied art. Art was just considered another science. They studied the arts and sciences. They were philosophers.
That's right.
Because things like that were encouraged back then.
Yeah, that's right.
Now just working for the dollar is encouraged.
That is
there we are.
You've nailed it.
Yep.
More
Images are
numbers.
magical, you know. I think images are magical, you know. Um, it's again, there's a certain um, uh, like attraction that they hold for us, and it's always been that way since human beings have been, it's there's a language to it, it's like it's a part of our language. There's a way that we communicate with each other, that you know that no other animals do it, right? So it's sort of this, there's a uniqueness. um, so anyway, I guess it's, I really enjoy thinking about these things, and I try to have them on as like a background for me when I'm making stuff. It's, I don't like to get hobbled by, too much, like, mm, too much worry, you know what I mean, that I'm not following rules or something like that. I don't think
Yeah.
that's, I think in this day and age, that's where we're supposed to be with it. I don't think we're supposed to, uh, you know, um, I think there's so much access to information. Let's call it that.
Hmm.
There's
Yeah.
so much access to information that it's out there for you. You can learn about it, and then you can use, you can choose to use it as you will for your own ends, right? These are
You don't want to
means
be
that
confined by it.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. And
Yeah.
some of the work that we've seen is maybe it's confined. Maybe it's constricted in ways that it's like, well, they've been just maybe not trying to adhere to it so much would have allowed it to be even grander in some way. I don't know. Again, that's speculative, but
I've
I
always
think
felt like you needed to learn the rules in order to break them.
Mm.
I've heard that.
You
I've
can't really
certainly heard
break the
that.
rules until you understand them. Then you can learn how to
Yeah.
manipulate them to your advantage.
Yeah. And that's
Yeah.
and that's interesting because that's kind of where I'm starting to be with my art now, because I'm having these classes and doing, so much study and research. I am learning the rules now. And whereas before I would sometimes just kind of get lost in my tattoos, now I can always sit back, rely on these truths that I've been learning, these laws, and I can fudge them now. Whereas before, I was just eyeing it. I was just winging it,
Flying by
as
the
my
seat of
coworkers,
your pants.
flying by the seat of my pants. Exactly.
I think maybe just to sort of to return to that notion, like maybe it's learning these rules. I still have hangups about saying it. The rules, it's like,
Yeah.
but all right, whatever, get over it, right? So maybe learning these,
Yeah.
Guidelines.
yeah, learning
Guidelines.
these guidelines allows you to bend them to the point where like you break them all the time without knowing. You know what I mean? Like if you're speeding through speeding in your car or something, and you don't know the speed limit, you're still breaking it. You know what I mean? But if you know that it's, like my little second cousins got they got a speeding ticket. They were driving through Georgia, and it was like, there's like the minimum was like 45, but there wasn't a speed limit, right? So they're like, okay, I drive as fast as I want. And so when they got pulled
Hmm.
over, they're like, yeah, you were speeding, but because it wasn't, because you weren't going over 88 miles an hour. You weren't
Right.
breaking the space time continuum. We're gonna, it's like your speeding ticket is going to be less than $500 or whatever. I don't know, but you know what I mean. It was like there's this, you can push things, right? The more that you know, the more that
Hmm.
you can sort of push. Um, you can sort of guide things to be uh, closer to what you have in mind, because you can't ever truly get out of what's in your head onto paper, on the skin, sing it, dance it, whatever. You know what I mean? Say it. You can't actually get what's in there out, right? It's always a representation. It's always mediated. It's always, a little bit. But again, you learn some rules of language or some other things, and it helps you to be able to come just, you know ever so much closer to that what's true inside of you. Like there's something that's true inside of you. It's always going to be sort of a representation or an illusion, you know.
Mm-hmm.
The more that you sort of practice it, the more that you learn about it, the more that you can hopefully come closer to what that is. I imagine, or that's what I'm hoping for. So that's what you all are also sort of, getting from this too, just like the second what Spirit was saying. So, again, I thought today was awesome. I know we didn't draw very much.
I agree, but I still think we learned a lot about art.
Cool. Yeah, I learned a lot from Spirit today. Yeah, a lot about math.
Yeah.
I learned a lot from Spirit's presentation. I thought that was
I really regret
outstanding.
telling my geometry teacher I'm not going to need this later in life.
I regret getting a C in geometry.
Yeah. I passed by the skin of my teeth.
So did I. I was with it in the beginning, but once it got to the end, I'm like, I have no idea what this woman's trying to teach me.
Yeah.
Right. What is this?
Which is funny because I crochet and
so do I.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, I restarted a project. It's really weird. So it's on my bed because I've been working on it. But I'm doing this blanket again because I had already started a blanket before. So like I'm making a blanket from a blanket, which is kind of like it's a oddly emotional transformative process just because of like the backstory of this project. But I started the original one in like a hard time, and it's been like 5 years since I started it, and I'm just realizing issues with the actual construction of it, but like creating something from something I made in a hard time when I'm in a different place now is just kind of like a weird emotional thing to go through.
Yeah.
So that's kind of weird, but the mathematics that goes behind like making something like this and like making sure it's straight and all of that, like it's all based on math. So like your grandma's making like quilts and granny, one of my favorite things to make is like granny squares.
Yeah.
And but it's all math going around and around.
Yeah.
So just everything you do is unfortunately math.
It all boils down to math, right down to the last atom.
Yeah.
Well, we're like we're image makers. We make images, drawings, and stuff, and so like there is this relationship to it. We're using it whether we like it or not. But I think being gaining confidence in it is a challenge. Especially if it's a type of abstracted thinking that we're not used to, like, we're just all kinds of numbers and addition, subtraction, or, other types of mathematical operations. But I think too, again, sort of taking it back to something basic, you take, four-sided things, square, rectangle, and you start drawing lines through it, can be very, very powerful. And then of course, like, I think, it helps. I think after a while, something that my old drawing teacher, does, like at the beginning of class today, I showed you my drawing, where I was talking about, I was drawing all these angles. So I was triangulating it. Well, my old drawing teacher, his drawing doesn't show any of that stuff, but he talks about, he's like, yeah, I've trained my eye to see that stuff. Right. As I look, I'm looking for these angles, the horizontal, the vertical, the horizontal, and these diagonals. I see them, and it's like I've just trained my eye to sort of to see them and to recognize it, and to do it, because so he used to do all that stuff, like draw these lines and make sure everything was in alignment. But it's a practice. You practice it, and then it becomes a second nature, and then it becomes a magic trick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like people, then it's just like, then it looks effortless, right? Because you worked on it, because you like, that's the biggest illusion of all, right? Is the effortlessness. looking of something. That's
Yeah.
when they've got you fooled. You know, you watch somebody do something, it looks effortless. It's like they got you, right? Because it's the opposite of effortlessness, right? They put in incredible efforts. You know what I mean? It's like even naturals. You know what I mean? Even people that are naturals at it, right? There's still this incredible amount of focus and underlying orders of operation, you know, of magnitudes that you're just not, you know, you're not aware of as you're sort of observing them, you know, absorbed in their activity. And so, just, you know, just like anything, you know, you learn how to throw a baseball, you know, you learn how to, you know, catch a frisbee. You know, animals do it. You know, humans can do it. You know, but
Yeah.
there's this thing, right? There's this sort of once you start to do it in a, you know, in this elegant artistic sort of way, that's, I mean, I think that's where, you know, I don't know, that's where beauty starts to come into the picture, I think.
Yeah.
You know, that's when
Yeah.
we start to think about things like beauty. So um well, I'm just so I'm so I'm like turbocharged, right? I'm charged up for all kinds of art projects this week, all kinds of, you know, all kinds of activity. I'd really like to return to the figure. I think that would be good for us. Like we did a, you know,
Mm.
I think we'll, you know, I think we should definitely do this. Like, you know, again, sort of take a, you know, return, like sort of oscillate, just like there, you know, just like our idea of the golden section, right? We're always returning, right? We return to the figure, we work on it.
Yeah.
We go outside and we start to look at nature, or you know, we look at objects, and then again, so we're always kind of, again, you know, we're tattoo artists or figurative artists, you know what I mean? We're always thinking about, we're interested in the body because we're people, right? We're interested in others. And it's a fascinating subject. And again, it's just, uh, there's a, there's something profound about it that, you know, is always interesting, right? Um, so that's what I'm hoping to do. So I'm gonna go back to my Bridgman book, and I'm gonna get back on it.
All right.
I'm gonna work on the Bridgman. I'm not sure where I'm at with it. Probably like knees or something like that. You pick a spot and you work on that spot you need to work on. You know. So yeah, probably some. I'll probably add arms or legs or something like that. But
Does it just have all parts of the body? Does it have like the face and all that stuff?
yes, there is it's all parts, and there is space as well. And so we really, I think, you know, I'm gonna I think that's a really good idea. Maybe we should like sort of focus on the face. Would everybody, does that
Uh-oh.
sound cool?
Sorry, guys.
No, no, does that sound
No,
fun?
that's go.
I
That's
love,
cool because
yeah.
I'm trying to learn portraits, and I really need
Okay.
Me
better
too.
practice of
Okay.
proportion of the face.
I'm working on a 3D portrait right now, so
All
Oh,
right. Well,
nice.
then I think yeah, we're drawing by committee. We should work on the head study, because
Okay.
again, it's all the same stuff. You know, that everything that we've sort of been talking about, everything we've talked about, it all relates, you know, to making art, composing things, and then we can always relate it to like drawing a portrait, drawing a head study. I think I think like there's a difference between like sort of capturing the likeness and then also capturing like the, you know, mm, the form, right? So
Mm.
a likeness would be a detail, if that makes sense, right? Like if you really start to abstract everything down, we lost spirit.
uh-oh.
If you really abstract everything, you know, keep thinking about forms and shapes and things, um, likeness will emerge, right? The likeness can emerge out of that. Um, so I think that's the. Here we go. Got spirit. Now we got spirit. Cool. All right. Yeah, likeness. The likeness will emerge, I think, rather than sort of going for it. You know, like you know, go for everything else, and then let the likeness sort of happen out of that, right? The likeness will occur um, because of your dutiful sort of, you know, like you're working on it. At a certain point, you got to let go of all that, and and sort of finish it, right? There's a certain
What was the
there's
question?
we're just talking about the difference between like likeness, like drawing a likeness of something or someone, and so I think that's a sort of a detail. It's like the frosting. You know what I mean? Frosting on a
Mm,
cake. You can't
yeah.
start with the frosting, right? You got to build the structure first. There has to
Hmm.
be a structure that happens, and then then you can get to the delicate piping of all of the happy anniversary cake that you're making, whatever the case may be, right? Um, don't don't put the cart before the horse. That's
I think that's funny. I'm
That was
reading
a good one.
I'm reading this book about it's a fiction book, but it's about this painter, and he does like only portraits. That's all he paints. And he's like, sometimes people get upset with me because I draw people as like they're seen from an outside perspective as opposed to like the person they like to see in the mirror. It's by Haruki Murakami. Oh, Killing Commentador. I've never heard the name said, but like it's a pretty interesting book. I'm not that far into it, but just like listening to like the plight of an artist that does a very specific thing, it's just like I can feel you never realize what something really looks like until you become an artist, I think. Because I think we think we know what things look like.
Yeah.
And then like you go, oh, okay, I know what a person looks like. And then someone's like, okay, recreate it on a piece of paper. And then it's like, oh, I have no idea what a person looks like. I remember I sat down in my first like life drawing class, and one of the first assignments was just draw the stack of boxes. And I thought that it was like a warm-up thing, just like, oh, we're gonna make you feel good. And then I got a D on drawing boxes.
Oh wow.
And my teacher drew all the lines that were wrong, and I'm like, oh, I have no idea what a box looks like. So
Right. Mm-hmm.
so yeah.
No, I jotted that down. I'm definitely gonna check out this author, and so anyway, I'm yeah, I like that. I think there's what we think things are, and then there's drawing what we see. You know what I mean? Observing it and things, and those are the um that's growing up. You know what I mean? I think that's growing up. That's how we grow, right? It's like you know uh, we kind of move past what it is that we're sort of attracted to and try to go deeper into it, and those are that's more challenging. That's tougher.
What was
And
the book
so
again that you
oh yeah,
It's
please.
called Killing Commendator. And I can spell that second word if you need me to. COMMENDATORE by Haruki Murakami. Sorry, I have glare. There we go.
Cool.
Yeah,
I am gonna say this guy is like an older guy, so I am gonna say, like, as a woman, he does not know how to write women. But I like the prose. He's very I call it like psychedelic fiction.
Oh wow.
He's trying to draw a portrait of a man whose face he can't see. Like he keeps having these nightmares about, like, he's trying to draw someone's portrait, but all he sees is like smoke, and the guy keeps getting angry at him. It's really interesting.
Wow, that's exciting.
I've had some dreams similar to that.
That's funny.
No comment.
Dreams are powerful stuff.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. But I think too, it's like we probably are, we probably are sort of drawing them. If you're thinking about imagination, it probably has to be in there somewhere. Yeah, it really does. But well, a topic for another episode, I'm sure. You know what I mean? So, all right. So we're gonna draw some head studies this week if you get a chance. Um, there's certainly lots and lots of great information online about this. In our Bridgman Constructive Anatomy book, there is also a section about the proportions of the head and how to think about it. So, but I think again, you could be making it up or whatever, but try to grab some reference, right? Whether it's from the Bridgman book or whether it's a photograph or even somebody sitting there from life. See what you can grab a hold of. Practice it a couple times throughout the week, and then next week I would love to give a little presentation on like some anatomical features and stuff, and we can sort of talk about that a little bit more. And I think that sounds like a lot of fun to me. So so if you all are down for that, sounds like a good theme. Sounds like some good sort of stuff to take home and work on. And
And I'd like to add
yeah,
just something for me. Do you have, or does anybody have an artist that they would like for in history that they would like for me to research? I really enjoy art history, and just I like to learn new people.
well, there's so many wonderful.
I know.
I mean,
I'm trying to pick one.
Well, okay. So here's what I would. We could probably start like, we start at, sort of. I think you were showing some Caravaggio, images today that I thought were fascinating and beautiful. So that would be a good one, right? Or who was the other artist that you had mentioned? I don't think I wrote down his name. The first artist that you were showing.
His name is Archibald Motley.
Okay.
He was a painter in the early 1900s.
I think there's some pieces. I live in Chicago. I think there's some pieces of his here in Chicago.
Nice.
At the Art Institute that I've seen.
Oh wow, yeah, that's really awesome. Yeah, I love his work.
I think
really, really...
it looks similar to something I've seen before.
That's awesome.
So those would be my two picks. Somebody that you like really somebody that you showcased this week. That would be awesome to learn more about, and then to share with us, because that way it's like there's some I know some information about Caravaggio and stuff, but Archibald Motley,
I
I
did
don't
kind
know
of write a
much
report about Archibald Motley. I'll share it with you. I'll send it to your Instagram or something like that. No problem.
Do it. Do that. That'd be awesome. And then talk about him some more. And so I think that's awesome. If you the more we can sort of jam into here, pack into this, I think it's we all get something from it. And then of course, like hopefully people who, if you're watching this, if you're getting something from it, hope you like and subscribe. And then also, that you join us. Like we had Steve and Jesse today. That was so cool. I've got a chance to know Steven in my other class I'm taking. And so it was so great that he, was able to come and share with us today. And then, Elise, it's great to see you too. I'm so glad you could make it today. I know you're super busy. You're getting
Finals
ready to
week.
finish up. Yeah, this is it, right? Are you going to graduate?
No, spring.
Okay.
I got.
All right. Yeah,
One more semester.
They keep dragging it out for you. Yeah, one of these days you're gonna do it. No, keep going, kiddo. It's awesome. So, all right. Well, we have had an exciting show today, full of lots and lots of really great stuff. So, why don't we do some quick sign offs, and then be time to get to work. So,
Right.
Amber, I'd love to love to know a little bit more about you. How can people reach you?
Good morning. I'm Amber Morgaine, and you can reach me on TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram at Amber Morgaine.
Outstanding. Thanks again for coming. It's really
It's
I
one
know
of my favorite things to do on a Monday morning.
that's killer. No, it means a lot. It really means a lot to me. I'm sure everybody else here too. That it's, again, that you make the time for us, and that you really put in effort too. I think that's awesome. So thank you.
I'm always
Seriously.
trying to get better.
Yeah. No, it is. It's working. It really is working. So just keep it up. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Elise, where can we
All
learn
right.
more about you?
Good morning. I'm Elise. I'm a 3D artist, and you can find me on Instagram at Technodreaming.
Cool. Thank you so much.
Dreaming.
Yeah. TECHI Dreaming. NI Dreaming. Sorry.
Oh, there you are.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, look at that.
That's
Yeah,
me.
it's awesome, right?
Yeah. Oh, that is awesome.
Yeah.
Word.
Yeah, it's fantastic work. And so thank you for sharing. It was really great to see your project that you're working on. And, again, it was like, it's always been really, it's been fun, like keeping up with your career and watching your development. So,
Thank you.
yeah, thank you for coming today. Really great to have you. So, Spirit, where can we find you?
Hey, you guys can find me at tattoosbyspirit.com. My Instagram is tattoosbyspirit, and my TikTok is also tattoosbyspirit. Everything's spelled correctly.
Outstanding. Spirit, I just wanted to relay to you just how much I really appreciated your presentation, and, and the effort and stuff that you put into it. It was, again, I got a lot from it personally, and I learned, and I really believe like that, this is going to be something that will be very useful and very well illustrated, sort of to the point that we've been sort of talking about, these sort of ideas that we've been talking about. So I think it's really enriched our group, and it was very cool, dude. Like super cool.
I'm glad you
Thank you.
appreciate it. I got another one here too.
Okay.
Yeah. Look at that. This is the one by Raphael.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that, boy. I tell you. And that's it all. I mean, it goes down to the center, and then you got look, there's statues right there, and then these statues right here, and then this group of people down here. I mean, it really, I don't know if you're familiar with that GIF of the guy. It looks like Meek Mill, and the camera's going around him. He's like, oh. That was me when I was doing this.
That's so cool, dude.
And this, I mean, it's so enriching to to do these things. It feels like I'm like privy to just esoteric information. This, just like you were saying, I mean, this is stuff that the Egyptians were learning in the mystery schools. How to build, just like you said, how to build pyramids, how to build temples. I mean, this is what brings me closer to God, and it's what brings me closer to the universe. And I mean, it's so enriching and so fulfilling, to learn these things. And I'm just really glad that I've gotten to this point in my artwork where I'm able to dig deeper and able to uncover just these gems and these truths. And it just really adds to my overall life experience in a very positive way.
That's awesome. And it's amazing. And I think it brings it out in a deeper way for me too. You know what I mean? Because I feel like I've definitely had those moments, that you're talking about, the, sort of moments of realization, light bulb moments and those sorts of things. But like, again, sort of seeing it in others, and watching, and then also you're bringing with you, you know what I mean? You're not only just, you're having it, but you're also like sharing it with us. And so I think that's, I just want to thank you very much. And just keep it up. Just you know, like this the work that you've been really making and stuff. It feels very you know, I'm getting just as much out of it. I'm getting just as much out of this experience as you all could possibly be getting. So I want to thank you. And so on that note, I'll sign off too. I'm James Wisdom. You can find me on Instagram at Tattooing Wisdom and my website, tattooingwisdom.com. This has been Drawing for Tattooers. I hope that you had a great time. And if you are getting something from us, you know, that you join in, right, and make sure that you like and subscribe. So on that note, we'll see you all next week at 9 a.m. Eastern for another exciting episode of Drawing for Tattooers. Happy drawing, everybody, and I'll see you next stream.